Finnish people are said to be sexy, handsome, honest, trustworthy, and everything that a great potential dating partner has. But because we Finns are so shy and bad showing our emotions, how on earth can you date Finns? Don't worry, because I'm here to share you 10 dating tips that will make you more successful dating Finns. Let's go check them right now. What up, fantastic? Welcome to a new video. If you're here for the first time, my name is Aleksi and I make fantastic videos about Finnish culture, lifestyle and language. So if you're into those kind of things, subscribe, because you're cool if you do that. Number 1, start approaching and meeting people. I've been reading articles which say that the number of people living alone and the number of singles are rising all the time. If you ask me, one of the reasons is that no one is approaching anyone here. We Finns are really, let's just be honest, bad at breaking ice, opening conversations and small talking. This doesn't only apply to guys, but I think girls are also kind of passive, at least according to my experience. So very easy, simple piece of advice, to start saying hello to new people and start meeting them. Also, dating is a numbers game. The more you approach, the more you go out, the more you meet people, the higher chance you have also to find a potential date. Quite common way to do is to go to bars and clubs and approach there, but you can actually approach anywhere. In the street, in the bookstore, in the grocery store, in the swimming pool, basically anywhere. I mean, you're just saying hello. Is that so bad? Not as bad as you think. Even if we Finns are a little bit shy and maybe not as outgoing as in other cultures, but we still have the natural desire to meet and date people. Keep that in mind. Number 2, be open for dates. Especially if you come from a different culture, my advice is to try to meet as many people, as many Finns as you can, so you can get kind of a general understanding of us Finns and also how we do dating. But I'm not saying that you need to go on like 10 dates in a week or something, but rather if you're not exclusive with anyone and you have a chance to go on a date with a guy or a girl, I think you should go, because it's always an experience. You get to meet new person, discuss. Also, you will slowly find out what type of people you will get well along with. That's also important when it comes to dating and finding that partner and that wife or that husband. And here it's completely okay. Let's say if you've been on a first date with someone and you get a chance to go out with another person the next week, that's completely fine, because we don't become exclusive here after first date. If a girl said that to me, that I can't date any others after one date, I think that's a red flag. It sounds like she's a little bit too clingy, at least to my mind. But that's just my way to do. So what I'm saying, that you don't necessarily need to put all the eggs in the same basket in the beginning. Because let's say if you have a first date with 3 different people, then you can just pick the one that you get best along with and then kind of develop the relationship from there. Number 3 is build your confidence, because confidence is really sexy also here in Finland. So just be bold and be direct. Let them know you're interested, but don't be too creepy at the same time. And like I said, confidence is something that you can practice, because when I was in my early 20s, I was really unconfident, really bad with girls, but then I discovered that confidence is actually something that you can practice and get better at. So that's the good news, because for example, we cannot really change our looks. We are just born like this. I'm born like this, and if you don't like my face, sucks to be you, because if you're subscribed to my channel, you'll get to see my face every week, 2 times. Okay, jokes aside, you can't really improve your looks, but you can improve your personality, you can improve your sense of humor, you can improve your confidence, you can improve your style, your clothing, and these kind of things. That's important. If you get rejected, that's okay. I mean, if you're actively dating, you will get rejected, because you might run into a person who is already taken, or maybe they're just not into you, because not everyone is compatible with each other, and that's just something we need to accept. There could be a number of reasons. So if you just get rejected, don't take it too personally and just move on to the next one. Life goes on and more opportunities will come. Believe me. Tip number 4 is get a life. This might sound a little bit harsh, but hear me out. Okay, for example, the Finnish women are actually quite independent, and I would say strong as well. We are not living in the 60s or 50s anymore, where getting married is like a must thing. If someone doesn't just find a quality partner, they might just stay single. until they find one. I guess the same goes for guys as well. So like have things going on in your life, get a job that you like to do, get some hobbies, get some passions. That's definitely sexy in Finland. Because if you are just staying at home all the time playing video games or watching porn or eating junk food, doing kind of these unhealthy habits, why would someone want to take you out for a date? Think about it this way. Like I said, these are some things that you can develop. And if you develop yourself, you also develop your sexual dating potential for Finns as well. Number 5 is know what you're looking for. If you know what type of girl or guy you're into, what kind of criteria you have, and what kind of people you get well along with, that's a good start, because it will be easier to find those type of people once you know what you're looking for. And another thing to keep in mind is that what kind of relationship you're looking for. If you're looking for a serious relationship, then you should also let them know. Or if you're just looking for something casual or one night stand or sugar daddy, sugar mama, whatever. Like if you're on a date, you should let them know like what kind of expectations you have or what kind of thing you're looking for. Because like I said, the Finnish dating culture is quite open, so things are not so serious here. And for example, sex is not considered such a taboo anymore and stuff like that. So my point is, know what you want and you will have more success. Tip number 6 is use Tinder. I bet my Finnish ass that everyone also watching this video have at least heard about Tinder. It's this world famous dating application where you can swipe profiles left and right, and it's also widely used here in Finland. I'm also on Tinder, by the way. I think Tinder is a really great tool, especially in Finland, because I've said many times on this channel that we Finns are kind of shy to open conversations and engage into conversations, even if we're interested, but it's just so difficult. But Tinder makes things a little bit easier. Set up a good profile, take some decent pictures, write out a nice bio. You can also let them know what kind of thing you're looking for, helps out to filter out right type of people. And then just start swiping. And also, some people are taking Tinder a little bit too seriously. My advice to you is just take it as an entertainment, as a kind of a bonus. If you happen to match with the nice people, just start chatting and see what happens. Go on some dates, have fun. You can never know what will happen to you. I've also made a street interview video where I interview Finnish girls about Tinder. You can check it out here after this video. Number 7 is look in the right places. I just said previously that know what you want, and most likely you have hobbies and interests and stuff you like to do. For example, if you are into books, you should consider joining a book club and see if you can find some potential dates there. Or if you're into yoga, consider taking some yoga classes. Because if you find people who share similar interests as you, it's beneficial because, for example, it's easier to start a conversation and find more common interests and in general just to get along better. So go do that. Don't yet. Watch this video all the way to the end first. Number 8. Don't get too physical too soon. And this is an important tip because if you know the Finnish personal space, the Finnish shyness, the kind of the slowness or the slow pace of the Finnish relationship, you don't get too physical too soon. Because if you do that, like let's say if you just met a girl or a guy and you put your arm around her waist or his waist, they might be like... This again is something that takes some situational awareness and some practice. It's kind of tricky because if you get too physical too soon, you'll scare them away, but at the same time, if you don't do anything physical, you'll fall in the friend zone. So finding the balance can be a bit tricky. Getting physical on the first date is definitely a must. I mean, you have to build this kind of physical tension and physical chemistry as well. And for example, what I usually do is if I'm out with a girl and she says something funny or something, I might like poke her like in this like a playful way, or to touch her here on her arm. This is actually quite like a good spot to start touching, to build that thing. And slowly when things develop and you can put your arm around her or, you know, this kind of things. And definitely kissing on the first date, definitely a good thing, because if you ask me, if there's no kissing or kiss on the first date, it's kind of like a sign to me, at least, that it wasn't such a good date. And I'm always going for the kiss on the first date if I like her, because why not? So just keep in mind, you need to get physical, but do it in a subtle way and slowly build things from there. And you'll be more successful and get more dates and get the best sex in your life. Oh my God. Tip number 9, don't approach when you're wasted. This is more kind of a self-explanatory, but you probably know that Finns are kind of heavy drinkers, heavy partiers, and if you head to the clubs and bars, that's a good place to approach and talk to people, by the way. But don't get too wasted. Even if the Finns are wasted and you get wasted as well and you start talking, it doesn't really higher your chances that much. Especially girls are always complaining that the guys who actually approach are drunk as fuck. So if you can approach sober, you're already standing out because no one is doing that. No one is talking to new people when you're sober. Can you believe that? And the last tip, number 10, don't be needy. This means that don't text too much or too often. This will come across as being too clingy. And for example, sending messages as, why are you not responding to me? That's not confident, that's not sexy. Like, you know, some people have these rules like, okay, if he sends me a message, I need to wait at least 1 hour. I mean, it's really personal. Some people have those kind of rules. I think it's kind of like bullshit and kind of annoying. But the point is that don't bombard them with too much messages. Instead, what I personally like to do, I just try to maybe send a few funny messages and then maybe set up a new date, because on those dates, that's where you can have the fun and get to know them and that kind of stuff. And there's also the thing that Finns tend not to be too direct with their display of interest during texts. And what this means that, for example, if they're not interested, they might just ignore and not reply to you. But if they're interested, they will invest in the text and also reply and ask you questions. So you can easily tell them from there, but we don't really say like, sorry, you're not really my type, maybe it's better to be as friends. Well, some do, but we still tend to have this kind of like awkward thing that we just kind of let it die out slowly, unfortunately. What kind of dating experiences you have with Finns? I'd love to hear your stories. Write them in the comments below. And I've also done a number of street interviews about dating in Finland, so you can check them out here. See you in the next video. So moro.